Good morning and welcome to today's Poetry Out Loud school competition for the 2021 school year. The competition has been organized by the English department, led by our lead teacher, Mr. Wilbur Higgins, and we have several contestants from several different grade levels this year competing. We have 4 accuracy judges, quality judges, I suppose. 1 accuracy judge, and all members are from the school system, which is super exciting. So we're gonna start today with Miss Hannah Lima, who is a grade 11 student and was our Poetry Out Loud winner for last year's season. She is a member of the DHS Student Council, a member of the golf team, a member of the dance team, a member of the theater company. And because she has all those amazing talents, she was recently crowned as Miss New Bedford's Outstanding Teen and has been serving as a volunteer throughout the community in various capacities. Hannah also just participated in the Moby Dick Marathon for this year's reading of the historic story of Moby Dick. She also stays busy with both singing and dancing lessons. I don't know how she has time, but here with her first poem is Hannah Lima.
I will be reciting Songs for the People by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Let me make the songs for the people, songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry whenever they are sung, not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage, nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make the songs for the weary amid life's fever and fret, till hearts shall relax, their tension and care-worn brows forget. Let me sing for little children before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float over life's highway. Let me sing for the poor and aged, when shadows dim their sight of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music, pure and strong, to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender girdle the world with peace.
While we transition to our next reciting, I would like to introduce our first performance judge, which is Associate Principal Rachel Chavier. Rachel is a crucial member of DHS, and she is definitely in charge of my smile most of the time at staff meetings. She's a good one, and we're glad to have her here as a former English teacher as well. So next up, we have Ariana Stevens. She is a senior this year in Mr. Lima's class, and it is the first time she has competed in Poetry Out Loud. She participates in cheerleading and the Key Club. Ariana thinks poetry is beautiful in all links with meaning behind each line. English teachers doing math, forgive us. In between, okay. Each one. And now with her first reading, Ariana Stevens.
I'm going to be reading Ebb by Edna St. Vincent Millay. I know what my heart is like since your love died. It is like a hollow ledge holding a little pool left there by the tide. A little tepid pool drying inward from the edge. Okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Higgins. So in between the performances, I'll be doing a little reading of some poems and limericks as well, just to kind of give the judges some time. Thanks for tuning into this Poetry Out Loud, to everybody in the school who is watching today. So here's the first poem that I'd like to read in between. So this is called Christmas Trees, and this is by Robert Frost. This is from a Christmas circular letter. The city had withdrawn into itself and left at last the country to the country, when between whirls of snow not come to lie and whirls of foliage not yet laid, there drove a stranger to our yard, who looked the city, yet did in country fashion in that there he sat and waited till he drew his out, a-buttoning codes to ask him who he was. He proved to be the city come again, to look for something it had left behind, and could not do without and keep its Christmas. He asked if I would sell my Christmas trees, my woods, the young fir balsams like a place where houses all are churches and have spires. I hadn't thought of them as Christmas trees. I doubt if I was tempted for a moment to sell them off their feet, to go in cars and leave the slope behind the house all bare, where the sun shines now no warmer than the moon. I'd hate to have them know it was I. Yet more I'd hate to hold my trees except as others hold theirs or refuse for them beyond the time of profitable growth. The trial by market, everything must come to. I dallied so much with the thought of selling. Then, whether from mistaken courtesy and fear of seeming short of speech, or whether from hope of hearing good of what was mine, I said, there aren't enough to be worthwhile. I could soon tell how many they would cut. You let me look them over. Back to Miss Lassie.
Our next performance judge is the much beloved Mr. John Bro. He is the head of the special education department here at the high school, and he is pretty much responsible for our amazing inclusive programs with athletics and the students blending in with the regular ed students and having opportunities they wouldn't have normally had. So his heart is bigger than he is, and we love Mr. Bro here at the high school. So our next contestant is the Mr. Joshua Moniz. He is a senior and a man of many interests. I have been privileged enough to have Joshua twice in class. He's amazing. He participates in the marching band, Key Club, the Spectrum, the math team, student council, and unified track. He's very excited and a little nervous to participate today, so please let's give Joshua Moniz a warm welcome.
Where the Wild Things Go by D. Gilson. The night Max wore his wolf suit made him infamous. Bred the child star, never sent to bed, middle school. Max started drinking, not in my house, his mother begged. No, 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 wild thing. Max reminded her who bought this condo, who paid for her meds. Freshman year, Max raved, roared, his terrible roar rolled and almost wound up in a warehouse dead. Where, oh where, do the wild things go? To rehab in high school. To college on residual book sales. Max kept his head down, laughed at drunken frat boys. Bro, let the wild rumpus start. Max said no thanks and volunteered for the Peace Corps instead. 2 years in Kenya, 1 in Belarus. The president thought Max might be of some use. Max moved to Washington, appointed at the State Department a cultural attaché. One important day, Max wore his wolf gray suit, then drove home well past rush hour in a freak snowstorm. Max drove on the deserted beltway, thought at his throne, yes, Max belted, this is where the wild things roam.
Hey, it's Mr. Higgins again. So we're going to try to lighten things up a little bit this time with some limericks. Limericks are very, very short poems, almost like haikus, but they're meant to be funny, ridiculous, sometimes bawdy or coarse, but we're not going to read those today. So here are a couple to entertain you. Let's see. My neighbor came over to say, although not in a neighborly way, that he'd knock me around if I didn't stop the sound of the classical music I play. I can hear your laughter around the school right now. Here's another one. There once was a man from Tibet who couldn't find a cigarette, so he smoked all his socks and got chicken pox and had to go to the vet. I heard some laughter that time. Here's another one. There once was a man stuck in a stall. He tried to get out but would fall. One day a man flushed, the fat man just blushed and quickly ran out of the mall. Here's one more. There was an enchanting young bride who ate many green apples and died. The apples fermented inside the lamented and made cider inside her inside. Back to Ms. Lassie.
I don't know how to follow that. So our next performance judge is Mrs. Jean Flight. She is my co-teacher this year, which is very exciting and I'm very thankful for. She is the kindest person I think I've ever encountered. She is so thoughtful, not just with the kids, but with all of us as a staff. She makes the best cookies on the planet, so please definitely take one of those cookies. But we are very lucky to have Miss Jean Flight with us today. So our next recitation will be from Bronte Masuko, and I had the privilege of having Bronte last year, and we are officially pen pals now. We write back and forth all the time with silliness, and I love it. So she is a junior who participated in Poetry Out Loud for class, but not for the competition for the school. She is involved in winter track, tennis. She's secretary of the NAACP Youth Council, founder of the Yoga Ceramics Club, secretary of the Multicultural Club, Environmental Club, Creative Writing Club, and Key Club. She works at the AMC Cinema. She is competing due to the prospect of the extra credit points she conned Mr. Higgins into giving her for participating. But I am sure we will all be overjoyed with her performance. So with her first reading is Bronte.
Epitaph on the Lady Mary Villiers by Thomas Carew. This little vault, this narrow room of love and beauty is the tomb. The dawning beam that 'gan to clear our clouded sky lies darkened here. Forever set to us by death, sent to inflame the world beneath. 'Twas but a bud, yet did contain more sweetness than shall spring again. A budding star that might have grown into a sun when it had blown. This hopeful beauty did create new life in love's declining state. But now his empire ends, and we, from fire and wounding darts, are free. His brand, his bow, let no man fear. The flames, the arrows, all lie here.
Okay, thank you, Bronte. I'm back for some more ridiculous limericks here. Here's a good one. A newspaper man named Fling could make copy from any old thing, but the copy he wrote of a $5 note was so good he now wears so much bling. I heard somebody laugh. All of these are in triplet. I think you can hear. Here's another one. There was a young lady of Cork whose pa made a fortune in pork. He bought for his daughter a tutor who taught her to balance green peas on her fork. I think that was technically a guffaw. Here's another one. There was an odd fellow named Gus. When traveling, he made such a fuss. He was banned from the train, not allowed on a plane, and now travels only by bus. That's a good one for the holidays right there. One more. I need a front door for my hall. The replacement I bought was too tall. So I hacked it and chopped it and carefully lopped it, and now the dumb thing is too small. Back to Ms. Lassie.
Our next performance judge and our last performance judge is one of my work besties, Miss Tara Kearney, aka TK. She is my fashion inspiration, and she motivates me every day to be more creative with my lessons. If you go in her room, your jaw will drop. Her kids are engaged, and she's doing something that I couldn't have even fathomed to do. She's amazing, and we're lucky to have her in our department, and I'm lucky to have her in my life. So our next contestant is Lauren Lima. Lauren is a junior who I also had the privilege of having in class last year. She's never competed in Poetry Out Loud before, but she has participated in the Dartmouth High School Theater Company and Harmonics, so this is right up her alley. She loves performing and reflecting on how much poems can affect us emotionally. So here is my beloved Lauren Lima.
Ozymandias by Percy B. Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, in despair. Nothing beside remains round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
Great job on that poem. Anybody who's ever had me for class knows that Ozymandias is one of my favorite poems. I think Ozymandias is actually a translation of Ramses, the ancient Egyptian pharaoh in Greek. All right, here are a couple more limericks to give the judges some time. A gherkin is a pickle, I believe. For this one, it makes sense. There was a young lady named Perkins who just simply lived on gherkins. In spite of advice, she ate so much spice that she ruined her internal workings. That's right, there's a building, in famous skyscraper in London that's shaped like a pickle, and it's called the Gherkin. Here's another one. A painter who lived in Great Britain interrupted two girls with their knitting. He said with a sigh, that park bench, well, I just painted it right where you're sitting. One more. There once was a boy named Dan who wanted to fry in a pan. He tried and eventually died. That weird little boy named Dan. Ms. Lassie.
Okay, I'd like to move on to introducing our prompter for today, which is Miss Kimberly Rivard. She is my neighbor up in the English department, and I could not be more thankful. Kim is the type of person that if you're having a bad day, just listen or watch her for a few minutes. She's dancing in the hallway. She's got a smile or a compliment for you. And again, we're very lucky to have her in the department. Our next reading is going to be from Mr. Sean Martin, El Presidente of the junior class. He has competed in Poetry Aloud at the classroom level for the past 2 years, but never at the school-wide level. He plays football and basketball here at DHS. As I said, he is the class president for the junior class, a member of the DECA, a member of Key Club, and a member of the chess team. He's excited to participate in Poetry Out Loud to give it my best shot and see how well I can do with my recitations, because he always gives his best. Here's Sean Martin.
Holding Court by Jacob Signs. Today I became king of the court, without a diamond-encrusted crown thrust upon my sweaty head. Instead, my markings of royalty were the t-shirt draping my body, like a robe soaked in champagne, and the pain in my right knee, a sign of a battle endured, my will tested and bested by none, as the ball flew off my hands as swift as an arrow toward the heart of her target, my fingers ringless yet feeling like gold.
Okay, I think for this poem, this limerick to make sense, you need to know that brie is a type of cheese. One Saturday morning at 3, a cheesemonger's shop in Paris collapsed to the ground with a thunderous sound, leaving only a pile of debris. Here's another one. I'm really determined and keen to start giving this house a spring clean. I will do it, I say. Yes, I'll do it today. Well, I'll do it tomorrow, I mean. One more. There once was a child in Spain who loved to play in the rain. One day he tripped and broke his hip. Now he's in serious pain.
Our next judge today is Anne Fifield, who is doing our accuracy scores, and she's the perfect person to do this because I swear she could be an editor in another life. I think she probably was. She is one of the most well-traveled, well-read women I have ever met, and she is definitely my role model when it comes to pushing kids to the absolute highest capacity they can go to. She just demands respect as a teacher, as a woman, as a human being, and I adore her. So our next reading will be from Phoenix Campbell, who I have never had the pleasure to have in class. Very sad, but I got to meet the other day, so exciting. Phoenix is a junior and has not done Poetry Out Loud before. He's part of the winter and spring track teams, as well as the cross-country team in the fall. He is also on the math team. Phoenix is excited to participate as he has never done it before. He enjoys poetry and analyzing the meaning behind it, as he learned to do in Mr. Lima's class this year. So with a great plug for Mr. Lima, here is Phoenix.
This is Won't You Celebrate With Me by Lucille Clifton. Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into? A kind of life I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight, my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed.
All right, here's a serious poem. This is titled Mistletoe by Walter de la Mare. Sitting under the mistletoe, pale green, fairy mistletoe, one last candle burning low, all the sleepy dancers gone, just one candle burning on. Shadows lurking everywhere, someone came and kissed me there. Tired I was, my head would go nodding under the mistletoe, pale green, fairy mistletoe. No footsteps came, no voice, but only, just as I sat there, sleepy, lonely, stooped in the still and shadowy air, lips unseen, and kissed me there. Ms. Lassie.
Our last employee for the Poetry Out Loud competition today is Miss Anna Soares. She is part of the special education department that works with the English department, and we are so lucky to have her. She works primarily with Mr. Karen, and that is a lot to handle with the technology. So she is one of our saviors at all times, one of the sweetest people as well. We're very lucky upstairs. So our next contestant is Holly Raposo. She is a junior, and she's competed in Poetry Out Loud, but it was her freshman year. She also does dance and theater. She enjoyed doing Poetry Out Loud her freshman year and wanted to do it again because it's fun and maybe to redeem herself this year, which, having interacted with her several times, I have complete confidence in her. Here is Holly.
I will be reciting You If No One Else by Tina Viliova. listen, you who transformed your anguish into healthy awareness. Put your voice where your memory is. You who swallowed the afternoon dust. Defend everything you understand with words. You, if no one else, will condemn with your tongue the erosion each disappointment brings. You who saw the images of disgust growing, you will understand how time devours the astute. You who gave yourself your own commandments know better than anyone why you turned your back on the town's toughest moments. Don't hush, don't throw away the most persistent truth, as our hard-headed brethren sometimes do. Remember well what life was like, cloudiness, and a slick mud after a drizzle, flimsy windows. The wind kept rattling. In winter, and that unheated slab dwelling, where coldness crawled up under your clothes. Tell how you come to this point to unbar the history stores, to see your early years, your people, the others. Name the way rebellion's calm spirit has served you, and how you came to unlearn these lessons of that teacher, your land's omnipotent defiler.
Okay, I'm back with some more absurdity. If you've been listening to these limericks, you can tell that there's a specific rhythm and a rhyme scheme. They're all in triplets, so it should be da 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 da. That's kind of the general idea. Here's a limerick. There was a young schoolboy of Rye who was baked by mistake in a pie. To his mother's disgust, he emerged through the crust and exclaimed with a yawn, "Where am I?" Here's another. There is a young schoolboy named Mason whose mom cuts his hair with a basin. When he stands in one place with a scarf around his face, it's a mystery which way he's facing. Last one. There once was a fly on the wall. I wonder why didn't it fall? Because its feet stuck, or was it just luck, or does gravity miss things so small?
So my last introduction today will just be a return to our beloved Mr. Higgins. He is the lead teacher of the English department, and we are a rough group to handle. We are loud and opinionated, and he gives us joy, and he has unified us, and he has pushed our department forward in so many different ways. We would not be the same without Mr. Higgins at the helm for the English department. And our last contestant today is Anna Oliveira, and she was kind enough to let Mr. Higgins write her bio, so here we go. Anna is a junior, that's true, and has not competed in Poetry Out Loud before. Here's where it gets a little spicy. She enjoys playing horseshoes, cornhole, and badminton. In her spare time, Anna works as a pickleball referee at a local retirement community. Anna is also an avid knitter. She has an Etsy store that sells sweaters for kittens, and her favorite beetle is Ringo. So here's our woman of mystery, Anna Oliveira.
This is Beginning by James Wright. The moon drops one or two feathers into the field. The dark wheat listens. Be still, now. There they are, the moon's young, trying their wings. Between trees, a slender woman lifts up a lovely shadow of her face, and now she steps into the air. Now she is gone, wholly, into the air. I stand alone by an elder tree. I do not dare breathe or move. I listen. The wheat leans back toward its own darkness, and I lean toward mine.
Okay, we need to get a link to that Etsy store, Hannah. I want to see those sweaters for kittens. All right, so you heard that there's a rhythm in these poems. There's also a rhyme scheme, too. So this is A-A-B-B-A all the way through these. Here's a limerick. An elephant slept in his bunk, and in slumber his chest rose and sunk. But he snored how he snored, all the other beasts roared, so his wife tied a knot in his trunk. Here's another. A circus performer named Brian once smiled as he rode on a lion. They came back from the ride, but with Brian inside, and the smile on the face of the lion. One more. There was an old man of Peru who dreamt he was eating his shoe. He woke in the night with a terrible fright and found it was perfectly true. Ms. Lassie?
So now our contestants are going to do their second poems. So I'm going to be reintroducing, after this bell, Hannah Lima. 2 years ago, Hannah experienced the gift of poetry and was forever changed. Words have the power to help, heal, unite, and inspire. She's excited to participate because she gets to take the beautiful words of others and bring them to life through her own interpretation, taking the audience on a journey and opening their hearts and minds to think about and imagine what is and what could be. Lastly, she also enjoys composing and performing her own poems. Hannah chose the first poem because it speaks to how music touches the heart of young and old. It also reminds us how important music is in our lives and how it is good for the soul. This second poem helps us to reflect on the wonders of nature that surrounds us. It causes us to pause and think about every day and everything around us. Here once again is Hannah Lima.
The Days Gone By James Whitcomb Riley. Oh, the days gone by. Oh, the days gone by. The apples in the orchard and the pathway through the rye. The chirrup of the robin and the whistle of the quail as he piped along the meadows. Sweet as any nightingale. When the bloom was on the clover and the blue was in the sky, and my happy heart brimmed over in the days gone by. In the days gone by, when my naked feet were tripped by the honeysuckle's tangles where the water lilies dipped. And the ripples of the river along ripples of the river. The ripples of the river lipped the moss along the brink. Oh God. Just need the word. Along the brink. Oh God. Oh God. Yeah, just the word. Okay. What? I just need like the first word. Oh, with a placid eye and a lazy-footed cattle came to drink. God. Um, and the tilting snipe stood fearless of the student's wayward cry, and the splashing of the swimmers in the days gone by. Oh, the days gone by, oh, the days gone by. The music of the laughing lip, the luster of the eye, the childish faith in fairies. And the magic, and Aladdin's magic ring. The simple, soul reposing, glad belief in everything, when life was like a story. Holding neither sob nor sigh. And the golden, olden glory in the days gone by.
Okay, I'm back with a couple of limericks. Here's a good one. There was a young person called Smarty who sent out his cards for a party. So exclusive and few were the friends that he knew that no one was present but Smarty. I don't know if you can hear, but there's some laughter coming from the control room here. Here's another one. An elderly man called Keith mislaid his set of false teeth. They had been laid on a chair. He had forgot they were there, sat down, and was bitten beneath. One more. There was a young lady of Kent whose nose was most awfully bent. She followed her nose one day, I suppose, and no one knows which way she went.
I mean, how can you not love Mr. Higgins? I mean, you're getting a taste of it right here. With her second poem, we have Ariana Stevens. She chose 2 love poems that she enjoys reading due to the intense feelings conveyed by someone in love. Everyone has different definitions of what love is and feels like, and she finds it interesting to read the different perspectives. With her second poem, Ariana Stevens.
This is Rondeau by Leigh Hunt. Jenny kissed me when we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you fool, who love to get sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary, say I'm sad. Say that health and wealth have missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny kissed me.
All right, here's a serious one. This is a real poem. This is titled, To Mrs. K on Her Sending Me an English Christmas Plum Cake at Paris, by Helen Maria Williams. What crowding thoughts around me wake, what marvels in a Christmas cake. Ah, say, what strange enchantment dwells enclosed within its odorous cells. Is there no small magician bound, encrusted in its snowy round? For magic surely lurks in this, a cake that tells of vanished bliss, a cake that conjures up to view the early scenes when life was new, when memory knew no sorrows past, and hope believed in joys that last. Mysterious cake, whose folds contain life's calendar of bliss and pain, that speaks of friends forever fled and wakes the tears I love to shed. Oft shall I breathe her cherished name, from whose fair hand the offering came, for she recalls the artless smile of nymphs that deck my native isle, of beauty that we love to trace, allied with tender, modest grace, of those who, while abroad they roam, retain each charm that gladdens home, and whose dear friendships can impart a Christmas banquet for the heart. That's for those who like fruitcake. It's got to be a very small crowd out there. Ms. Lassie.
No one likes fruitcake. Okay, with his second poem today, I would like to sing some more praises for Mr. Joshua Moniz. He doesn't just get recognized by us as a staff, but also his peers, recently winning the superlatives, most likely to succeed, most involved, and best all around. With his second reading, here is Josh.
Meeting at an Airport by Taha Muhammad Ali. You asked me once, on our way back from the mid-morning trip to the spring, what do you hate and who do you love? And I answered from behind the eyelashes of my surprise, my blood rushing like a shadow cast by a cloud of starlings. I hate departure. I love the spring, and I love the path to the spring, and I worship the middle hours of morning. And you laughed, and the almond tree blossomed, and the thicket grew loud with nightingales. A question, now 4 decades old. I salute the question's answer, an answer as old as your departure. I salute the answer's question. And today, it's preposterous. Here we are at a friendly airport by the slimmest of chances, and we meet. Ah, Lord, we meet. And here you are asking, again, it's absolutely preposterous. I recognized you, but you didn't recognize me. Is it you? But you wouldn't believe it. And suddenly, you burst out and asked, if you're really you, what do you hate and who do you love? And I answered, my blood fleeing the hall, rushing in me like the shadow cast by a cloud of starlings. I hate departure, and I love the spring and the path to the spring, and I worship the middle hours of morning. And you wept. And flowers bowed their heads, and the doves in the silk of their sorrows stumbled.
Okay, here's some more levity. No more fruitcake. There once was a girl named Zoe. She went out in her yard, which was quite snowy. She ate her brother, asked her parents for another, so they had another named Joey. Her name should have been Zoe. Messed that one up. Here's another one. A young gourmet dining at Crew found a rather large mouse in his stew. Said the waiter, don't shout and wave it about, or the rest will be wanting one too. One more. A crossword compiler named Moss, who found himself quite at a loss. When asked, why so blue, said, I haven't a clue. I'm too down to put one across. That takes a second. There you go.
Okay, up next with her second performance is going to be Bronte Masuko. Her first poem really captured her attention by the way of its vivid imagery and really unique word choice. She liked the construction of her second poem and thought it was a really beautiful sort of narrative with these conflicting ideas of flames and conflict, but also beauty and hope. And here is our unique, hopeful beauty, Bronte Masuko.
The Maldives Shark by Herman Melville. About the shark, phlegmatical one. Pale sot of the Maldives Sea. The sleek little pilot fish, azure and slim, how alert in attendance be. From his saw pit of mouth, from his charnel of maw, they have little of harm to dread, but liquidly glide on his ghastly flank or before his Gorgonian head. Or seek port behind his serrated teeth in white triple tiers of glittering gates. They are friends and friendly, they guide him to prey. Eyes and brains of the dotard, lethargic and dull, pale ravener of horrible meat.
Okay, for this one to make sense, you need to know that a loo is the British word for a bathroom. I'm papering walls in the loo, and quite frankly, I haven't a clue. For the pattern's all wrong, or the paper's too long, and I'm stuck to the toilet with glue. Here's another. There was a young lady whose chin resembled the point of a pin, so she had it made sharp and purchased a harp and played several tunes with her chin. One more. There was an old man with a gong who bumped at it all day long, but they called out, "No more, you're a horrid old bore," so they smashed that old man with a gong.
Poor man was just trying to play his music. Okay, next up, with her second performance, we have Lauren Lima. For her first poem, she chose this because it was very intriguing, she was very intrigued by the message of power being temporary. It is a short poem, but it still manages to present a large message. She chose her second poem because, as a queer individual who does not fit into the gender binary, she related deeply to the words written. Here's the wonderful Lauren Lima.
Portrait of My Gender as Inaudible by Meg Day. I knew I was a god when you could not agree on my name, and still none you spoke could force me to listen closer. Is this the nothing the antelope felt when Adam lit on his own entitling, dubbed family, genus, species? So many descendants became doctors, delivered babies, bestowed bodies names as if to say it is to make it so. If I told you, you wouldn't believe me, because I was the one to say it. On the first day, there was no sound worth mentioning. If I too am a conductor of air, the only praise I know is in stereo. One pair, an open hand and closed fist, will have to do. I made a photograph of my name. There was a shadow in a field, and I put my shadow in it. You can't hear me, but I'm there.
Okay, I don't know if you're getting tired of limericks, but here are some more. The incredible Wizard of Oz retired from his business because, due to up-to-date science, to most of his clients, he wasn't the wizard he was. Another. There was an old man with a beard who said, "It is just as I feared. 2 owls and a hen, 4 larks and a wren have all built their nests in my beard." One more. Is it me or the nature of money that's odd and particularly funny? But when I have dough, it goes quickly, you know, and seeps out of my pockets like honey.
With his second reading, we're going to call back Sean Martin. He chose his first poem because it portrays the vast emotions that are experienced when playing sports, especially when things are going well, which as a basketball player himself is something he can relate to and felt he could provide insight to through his recitation. Sean also chose to recite his second poem because he particularly enjoyed the form and rhythm of the poem, with very descriptive and longer lines that provide imagery for the situation being discussed, while also having a much deeper meaning. He found this to be very interesting. And here is the interesting man himself, Sean Martin.
After the War by Rachel Galvin. When he got to the farmhouse, he rifled through the cabinets, drawers, and cupboards, and his buddies did too. The place was abandoned, or so he thought, and his buddies did too. He tried to talk to people in town, and his buddies did too, but he was the only one whose Yiddish made it across into German. They took his meaning. He, in the farmhouse, took a camera and a gun. But his buddies, who knows? About the gun, it's also hard to say. But after the war, he took up photography. Why not? And shot beautiful women for years. Got good at it, and how? Won prizes and engraved plates. Put them in a drawer. Forgot the war, forgot his buddies, forgot the woman, forgot the drawer.
Okay, you thought I ran out of these, but I did not. Here's a limerick. I met her in chat, she was neat. Her photo was pretty, petite. We met for a meal, I saw her for real. I screamed and then ran down the street. There once was a man from York who picked his nose with a fork. He went for a pluck when it got stuck and walked around looking like a dork. One more. There once was a man from Peru who had a lot of growing up to do. He'd ring a doorbell, then run like hell until the owner shot him with a .22.
Those first two sound like my dating history before my husband. My goodness. All right. With his second poem, we are going to call back Phoenix Campbell. Phoenix chose Won't You Celebrate With Me as it depicts the struggles of a minority woman in a time when those struggles were not always heard. It is powerful and a great representation of how everybody can express themselves through poetry. Phoenix chose Prince, which he's about to recite, because he has always had an interest in his ancestors and how they provided him the life he has now, while reflecting on all of the work they have put in for a better life. Here is Phoenix Campbell.
This is Prince by Joseph Bukkak. Seeing photos of ancestors a century past is like looking at your own fingerprints. Circles and lines you can't recognize until someone else with a stranger's eye looks close and says, "That's you." Thank you.
Yes, I do have more. A fellow jumped off a high wall and had a most terrible fall. He went back to bed with a bump on his head. That's why you don't jump off a wall. Here's another. There once was a farmer from Leeds who swallowed a packet of seeds. It soon came to pass he was covered with grass, but has all the tomatoes he needs. One more. There once was a man named Bryce who had a nasty head full lice. He said, if I eat them, then I'll have beat them, and besides, they taste very nice.
Lice is a school teacher's nightmare. My gosh. Okay, for her second poem, we have Holly Raposo returning to the mic. She chose these poems because she feels that she can portray them and have that emotional value behind them and have a similar connection to each. Here is the very talented Holly Raposo.
I Felt a Funeral in My Brain by Emily Dickinson. I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they were all seated, a service, like a drum, kept beating till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul. With the same boots that led again, then space began to toll. As the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear, and I, in silence, some strange race, wrecked, solitary, here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down, and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing then.
Okay, I'm going to try to regain some credibility as a teacher here by reading a real poem. This is titled Christmas Tree Lots by Chris Green. Christmas trees lined like war refugees, a fallen army made to stand in their greens, cut down at the foot on their last leg. They pull themselves up, arms raised. We drop them like wood. Tied, they are driven through the streets, dragged through the door, cornered in a room, given a single blanket, only water to drink, surrounded by joy. Forced to wear a gaudy gold star to surrender their pride, they do their best to look alive.
With her last reading today, I'm going to reintroduce Ana Oliveira. And since Mr. Higgins wrote her bio the first time, I thought I would give you something true about Ana. Though I've never had her in class, I know she's an excellent student, but I was able to be her coach for volleyball, and this year got to watch her on varsity as her assistant coach. Ana is the best of all of us. She is the person you want on the team because she's going to make all of us better, whether it's her spirit cheering on the court or off the court, the effort she puts in, the smile on her face. Ana just makes everything better. So with her second reading, Ana Oliveira.
This is The Chimney Sweeper, A Little Black Thing Among the Snow by William Blake. A little black thing among the snow, crying, weep, weep, in notes of woe. Where are thy father and mother? Say, they have both gone up to the church to pray. Because I am happy upon the heath and smiled among the winter's snow, they have clothed me in the clothes of death and taught me to sing in notes of woe. Because I am happy and can sing and dance, they think they have done me no injury, and gone to praise God and his priest and king that make up a heaven of our misery.
All right, I have one last limerick for today. I'll read this last one. We're going to pause for a few minutes at the end of this to tally the scores, and we'll be back to announce the winner of Poetry Out Loud. All right, my last limerick for today. A man and his lady-love men skated out where the ice was quite thin. Had a quarrel, no doubt, for I hear they fell out. What a blessing they didn't fall in. I just want to add, too, that it's very possible that Anna may have a future in knitting sweaters for kittens. Suggestion may be enough, possibly. All right, we'll pause and be back in a few minutes. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Poetry Out Loud. So we do have a list of the top 3 finishers for this year's Poetry Out Loud. Before I do that, I'd like to thank all of the performers, contestants who came here today to do this on the day before our break. It's challenging to do this, it really is. It's not easy to memorize a poem in the first place. You notice there aren't any teachers up here memorizing poems right in front of the mic. It's very, very difficult, and I think that we double that, triple that when you stand in front of a mic, in front of a camera. So applause, thanks to all of those students who participated today. Thank you very much. I want to thank again all of the teachers who helped out with this, especially Ms. Lassie, who didn't get her own introduction, but who is a constant source of happiness, I think, for both students and teachers in the English department. So thank you, Ms. Lassie. We appreciate it. So I'd like to announce the top 3, and if each one of you could come up quickly here. We'll start with 3rd place, and we'll move on down to our champion. All right, in 3rd place for the 2021 Poetry Out Loud contest, Phoenix Campbell. All right, Phoenix, yeah, come on up. Good job. You can sanitize after this. In 2nd place, Hannah Lima. Congratulations, Hannah. And this year's 2021 Poetry Out Loud Grand Champion, Lauren Lima. Great job, Lauren. And we have a small gift for you, 100 years of the best American short stories. If you could have these all read by the time you come back from vacation, that'd be great. Congratulations. I also want to thank Mr. Parati and his crew as well. They did such a great job today putting this together, streaming it. We're really lucky to have Mr. Parati and the equipment that he has in play here and the students who are working for him. This is just, I don't think every school has something like this. So thank you, Mr. Parati and your crew. And that's it for today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great vacation. We'll see you January 3rd, right in Bushy-tailed. Congratulations, everybody.